Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk all news, comics, and media related to the Transformers. On this episode, Skybound reveals the Decepticons starring in the new Transformers comic. There's a new Transformers case for your Nintendo Switch, and Rise of the Beast home digital release has been confirmed. Today is Friday, July 7th, 2023. This is episode 345 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that is once again looking for the platform that will rule once Twitter slips on its own banana peel, falls down a flight of stairs, and breaks its neck. Metaphorically. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hello. I did it to myself. Let's talk Transformers.
As always, we start the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for continuing to help us out and keep the show going. We really appreciate it. If you are not a Transmission supporter, you can go to transmissionspodcast.com/support and become a Donatreon. Very easy to sign up. You can, with your contribution, you get some perks. You get to watch us record the show live if you so want every Sunday. You can get access to bonus content. You can get access to merchandise and entered into all of our contests automatically. Lots of good stuff. Speaking of bonus content, we've got several episodes of our Transformers show, bonus show, We Like Big Bots. 10 of those episodes available on our Patreon page, done by Daryl and Dr. Pants. And more are planned very soon. Maybe even next week at TFCon. We'll see. No promises, but we'll see. We'll try. We can't say we'll try, but we'll try to try.
TFCon's next week?
Yes.
God, it's coming up fast.
I know, it feels like it was 2 weeks ago, just when we recorded the main show. So yeah, we are definitely looking forward to TFCon. So we hope to see if you're going, come look us up. I mean, we're going to be around. Say hi. We're always happy to meet listeners and hang out. So we'll see you there. This week, we also had the next episode of our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust. This was episode 104. Mr. Starscream will see you now. And this is the beginning of the takedown of Starscream. So we are rooting for the party to destroy the corrupt leader of the Cybertronian government. Of course, Starscream's a bad guy. Why? He's always been a bad guy. So, we'll look forward to that. This was the regular version of the episode. So next week, if you are a Donatron, you get early access to episode 105, and that will be out on Monday, this coming Monday. So you will be able to listen right away. But for all our regular listeners, you can listen to this episode 104 at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. And all our Empire of Rust episodes are in the free feed there. Also in our main Transmissions podcast feed. So if you're subscribed, you should get them automatically. Also, this month we have a new code for our friends at Toy Hacks. Since we shifted over from June to July, we have a new code. You can still save 15% off at toyhacks.com. All your orders at toyhacks.com with our code. And the new code is TFMPOD07. So that's TFMPOD07. So check that out. And if you are looking for some stickers at Toy Hacks, make sure you use our code. We mentioned it in the toy show, but we are also giving away some additional Toy Hacks gift codes at TFCon Toronto. We are doing the podcast panel on Sunday that weekend, and we will have some additional Toy Hacks codes provided by our friends at Toy Hacks to give away. Those work on their website at any time. So if you get those, get one of those gift codes, you can combine that with this 15% off code and save even more money. So, pays to listen to transmissions. So we might even have some other prizes to give away at TFCon Toronto. So if you're out there, stick around for the podcast panel at the end of the day on Sunday and hang out with us. All right, let's move on. We're going to jump into our comics news. Okay, we talked about it last week. It came out just as our episode went up, so we didn't get the chance to reveal this in last week's Alt Mode, even though it was out there on Twitter. But Skybound released the Decepticons that are going to make up the lineup of the first the new Transformers comic that they're starting. We had the Autobots the previous week. We speculated about the Decepticons. I think we were pretty accurate, at least. Starscream and Soundwave were spot on. One thing that I did not foresee was not having Megatron be in the starting lineup right off the bat. So that's interesting that maybe they're building up Megatron as more of a big bad. So we don't get a glimpse of him at the beginning.
We did it with IDW.
Yeah, exactly. So similar idea, and I think that makes sense. But looks like Starscream is leading at least this squad of Decepticons to start off. And we're joined by, of course, Soundwave, Skywarp, and 2 tapes, Laserbeak and Rumble. So,
I called those 2 tapes.
Very nice, Daryl. Of course, I find it interesting that Rumble is blue. So in Transformers lore, Rumble has been blue in the TV show and the G1 cartoon, but in the comics, it's always been Frenzy is blue and Rumble is red and black. So I think this definitely hints at Daniel Warren Johnson definitely being inspired by the G1 cartoon series. So that's why Rumble is blue here in the Transformers comic. So very interesting.
It's the way he is in my head, so it works for me.
Next up, the next bit of comics news, we had Daniel Warren Johnson. I gotta practice that because every time I keep wanting to say, my mouth keeps wanting to say Daryl, but it's Daniel. Daniel Warren Johnson was on the Comic Pop podcast on YouTube, or I guess it's just a YouTube show. I don't know if it's a podcast.
They put out a lot of their stuff as podcasts as well.
Okay, so so it was on Comic Pop Returns. And it was like over an hour, just a nice little chat interview. Talked a little bit about Transformers, and that didn't go into any spoilers or details about what's happening. The one bit of news out of this was that he's initially signed on for a 6-issue arc. So we don't know if he's going to continue past those 6 issues, but for right now, that's what he's initially signed up for. He said also during this video, he did say that Skywarp was his favorite, one of his favorite characters. So that's probably why Skywarp made it into the initial Decepticon lineup. So we'll see, what's happening going forward. I did like his assessment of Transformers fans, as how there's a segment of Transformers fans that hates everything, and he was getting, he got a lot of hate, specifically like people saying since he's going back to G1 designs, they were all boring. that was one of the responses he got, is like boring for a bunch of fans.
He said that he's really making it for himself.
Yeah,
what he wants to see, and I think if you're a creator, that's really what you should do, to have the best product. Don't try to please everyone. Try to do it the best you can. Please yourself and whatever like overlords you have over you, like Hasbro. And he did say there's been some back and forth in terms of design choices.
Yeah.
And he's having to do the faction symbols over and over to get them just right. So that should please you, Daryl.
It certainly does.
So yeah, I thought he came off really enthusiastic about the project, really personable. Like I really liked what I was seeing. And if you want to see his work, last week he had a short story in the Darth Vader, was it Red and Black or
yeah, like red, white, and black or something.
Yeah, Red, White, and Black, something like that. And he talks the first probably 10, 15 minutes or so. He talked about that and showed off some of his art. So, yeah, I'm more excited after having watched that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. Yeah, he also mentioned about how when he signed on to the project, he was like, I really want to do it as a G1 back to basics. And then when he started like sending samples to Hasbro, they were like, well, this is kind of 2 G1. So I thought that was funny. That was the response he got. So yeah, I'm definitely I'm giving this a chance. I mean, for me personally, I was a big fan of the IDW stuff. So I do I like G1-esque, but evolving things that, for modern sensibilities or updating it for the times, which I think is always a good idea. But I mean, I'll definitely be giving this a shot and seeing what his take is. He did mention again in this stream that he was not too familiar with the IDW stuff. So, he also said he was inspired by the Marvel comics, since he as a kid in the 90s who was too young for the initial Transformers comics. He went to comic shops looking for back issues, and they were all like, no one cares about Transformers comics, so he was just having to hunt them down because they were there. Whatever you find in the bins, that's what's there. But he did, it's definitely difficult to complete that run after the fact. 5 years later or 10 years later. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely it sounds like he's really enthusiastic about the project. So whatever he puts out is going to be, I think, at least quality, whether it's something we like or don't like. I think it's going to be interesting. So
yeah, and there will be that segment of Transformers fans that will hate it regardless because they hate everything that's not what they like, their preferred Transformers. So,
well, I mean, I gotta say, first of all, I'm disappointed in the 6-issue run. I was hoping to have him around for a little while longer. Give me 12 maybe. I know they work in groups of 6, so 12 is a nice good chunk. 6 is barely enough to get to know the style, his writing style. Now, does this 6 issues, does this include both writing and art duties? I mean,
all he said was that he was signed on for 6 issues.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, like I said last week, we were spoiled with IDW and the fact that the writer and the artist were the exact same for like a decade. I'm exaggerating a bit, but a really, really long time. The artist and the writer never changed, and it lended itself for you to be able to get really used to the look and feel of the book. I really don't want this book to jump around as far as the art goes. The writing, nothing's really that never really sticks with me that much. So the writers can change and they'll take the story in different directions, but the art needs to kind of stay the same, or else I'll really start to dislike this book. Yeah, I'm still looking forward to it. I'm still going to check it out. I do like his art. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we know that there's a lot of former IDW Transformers artists that are out there that are looking for, some steady work. I know that Skybound is looking to make things look a little differently right now. So maybe that's probably why they're not looking at former IDW artists, but I would like to see them get a shot, maybe a few runs down.
Yeah. I mean, I would be hopeful that, depending on what happens with Transformers and this Energon universe that they're building up, that there will be space for additional Transformers titles. So you're not just going to have one Transformers comic. You might have some miniseries. You might have some, a couple of ongoings it's running concurrently, like they did in the IDW days. I mean, if the sales can support, like, I mean, what if IDW did it back in the day with, I mean, their sales numbers were not on the level that I think Skybound can pull with some of the name recognition they're getting. We could eventually get some additional space for additional creators to be working on these books, and then you could have some books that focus on different artists and writers doing different things. That would be my hope for the future, but it depends on the sales, of course.
I mean, obviously that's very similar to how IDW ran with the Transformers license. I'm looking at Image / Skybound as it sits right now, and even some of their biggest titles that would outsell Transformers like crazy. So, I mean, they've ended Walking Dead, and they did it like a year ago, but even Walking Dead only just started getting reprinted in color, and they're calling it a deluxe. And that's not even a second like offshoot series. It's the same series just reprinted. So, I mean, somebody out there would probably know better than I, because I didn't actively buy the book, but I'm not entirely sure if Skybound is a company that's going to do many, offshoot, titles of the same universe. Now, that being said, I do know that Image has spawned out everywhere. Like, it's gone crazy right now. For the longest time, it didn't, and they would only do kind of one or two little miniseries here and there, but it never really changed all that much. Only recently, last year again, did they actually break off and do, I think they're into up to 3 titles, maybe 4 titles right now, but I'm not entirely as hopeful as you are when it comes to the Transformers, getting multiple titles going at the same time. Now, with G.I. Joe involved, that is where I do, and I think I talked about it before, I do think there will be more crossover. I honestly think we're going to have to be buying the G.I. Joe books and the Transformers books to get both of these, the full story. And I hate that idea. Rivals. Yeah, for sure. I think honestly, the way that they're gonna market this is that everything in this Energon universe, as a Transformers comics fan, we're gonna have to be buying to get the whole story.
I mean, they've been saying in the PR that you aren't going to have to, but I think if I'm thinking about the release schedule right, they're going to overlap a little bit. Like, you have Transformers starting first, and then in December, I think you have the Duke. I think the Cobra Commander starts after that.
Cobra Commander in January, yeah.
So if Transformers, this first run is 6 issues, then that would be wrapping up in the middle of Duke.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see how the storylines are going, and you would think that the Transformers is going to be ongoing, or they are going to have another series or something.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to do something to keep the momentum going.
Yeah,
of course. The license is not cheap.
Yeah,
right. So
and apparently Hasbro came to Image or to Skybound and said, "Hey, you want to pitch for this?"
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, the one thing I think about is just as a kind of a similar example is Invincible, where Kirkman did do some offshoot miniseries around that, like the Invincible comic universe, and as his kind of magnum opus for superhero comics, and then it did branch out a little bit. You did not get like multiple ongoing series, but you did get some miniseries in that universe. So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the way they're positioning this with this Energon universe, I mean, clearly it's the Transformers is the kind of pivot point, fulcrum around which all these titles are revolving. if you're going to call it the Energon universe, then you're really that's you're saying this is focused on Transformers. So I would imagine like you're going to have a lot of Transformers content. And I mean, to your point, Daryl, that means you're probably, if you're a Transformers fan, you got to buy everything because everything revolves around Transformers. But
Yeah.
I would think that would also imply that you might get multiple Transformers titles, in that universe as time goes on. But we'll see.
I'd like it. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if we were back to similarly to what IDW did with More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise, 2 concurrently running titles that were in this shared a universe that every now and then crossed over. That would be fantastic. I would love that.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that it's not going to be as elaborate as that. IDW went hard on Transformers. They went real hard.
I mean, it also took them years to get there. It wasn't right away. It was.
Sure.
Took them,
Yeah.
it took them several years to get to that point. So,
and even then, the rest of the Hasbro stuff wasn't in there until they were forced to retcon their GI Joe stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it is smart they're doing it from the start. We'll see if they add things like ROM later on, but doing it as
ROM's back with Marvel.
Well, the Marvel is reprinting the old stuff.
Yes.
We don't know about any new stuff.
Well, I assume that's that's Micronauts and ROM.
I mean,
those are old books are going. If they're reprinting the old stuff, that means they got the new stuff, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, they could just have permissions to reprint the old stuff. I mean, they're never clear about that. So in my mind, anything Hasbro outside of My Little Pony and stuff is fair game until we see otherwise.
Okay. In my mind, they're gone. They're at Marvel. That's where I've kind of put them. But you're right. Until something new comes out, then we don't know for sure.
Okay, well, that's all our comics news. So let's move on to Transformers media news.
Okay, and we're going to start off with Transformers Fortnite. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and there is a Transformers pack coming out. This pack is going to come out with 3 new outfits, 3 new back blings, 3 new pickaxes, 2 new emotes, and 1,000 V-Bucks. I sound like a 75-year-old man. This is going to be available at select retailers starting October 13th, or digitally starting October 21st. Guys, let me come in real close here. Don't buy this shit. Don't buy virtual. Oh, getting real close. Okay, here, guys. I'm gonna be real. Don't buy this stuff. It's stupid, and it's a waste of money. You're welcome. This has been Daryl's Corner. Moving on.
It's not for you, Daryl. It's for the kiddies. The kiddies won't listen to you, unfortunately.
I know. They don't listen to podcasts.
The elementary school kiddies that get to play games like Fortnite.
Yeah. Next up, we've got a Numbskull case. Is that this? Yeah, this is what we're looking at. So this is a Transformers G1 Optimus Prime statue and Transformers Nintendo Switch case from Numbskull. The statue actually looks pretty cool. If you got a picture of it up on the screen there, yeah, it looks pretty decent. Just a picture of Optimus running.
Nice selfie.
Yeah. And when you if you have a Nintendo Switch, I don't know anybody who does, so I don't know who would need this.
You don't know us, Daryl? You don't know us anymore?
So apparently this statue comes with a Nintendo Switch case. And the total package is on BBTS right now for $175. The statue, if you were wondering, stands 27.5 centimeters tall, and that is 10.5 inches. Oh, they've already done the conversion down here. Oh, so I didn't even need my tape measure. So, and you guys all know what a Nintendo Switch case does. You put your Switch in it. So there you go. Anyway, the Optimus Prime is cell shaded. So for those of you who can't see the video, watch the video. We put a lot of work into this. Anyway, moving on. Transformers Rise of the Beast, concept art and other material, roundup number 1. There's lots of things here, so I'm just going to go through them real quick. The Transformers Rise of the Beast, Freezer by Shane Baxley. It's a 360 turnaround video showing off the small but lethal Terracon. The Rise of the Beast Scourge alt mode concept by Shane Baxley. Then we've got Transformers Rise of the Beast Maximals Beast Modes by Fioro. I don't know. I'm not going to say that. This is a full body concept art for Optimus Primal, Cheetor, Rhinox, and Air Razor in their beast modes. Then we got Transformers Rise of the Beast Rhinox robot mode by the same artist.
Furio Tedeschi.
Well done. And then the Transformers Rise of the Beast Previs optimization texturing by Kimberly McNeil. So lots of things to look at here. If you're a fan of a lot of this concept art and previs, then you can take a look here and see. There's a lot of neat stuff to look at. Pictures of Unicron and stuff. That's kind of cool. All right. And up next, we've got the Transformers Rise of the Beast digital release date is confirmed.
And the update under as well. Update on the show docs.
Oh, on the show doc. Oh. All right. It is not confirmed. So we thought we had a release date for the movie, which was July the 11th. And that would be, when's this show coming out? The 7th. So 4 days from now. And that is apparently not happening now. So the update says, since this article was published, Microsoft has removed the release date from their website and no new date has been provided at this time. The below article reflects the information as it was originally published. So it is not July 11th. Maybe it's a week later. Who knows? There is no news at this time. It'll probably come out Monday when we have finished recording. All right. And we've got, next up, we have some storyboards. And these are from the G1 cartoon Aerial Assault. And so these are, again, have been found and are stored over at the Sunbow Marvel Archive website. And they are available online. Is this the one that Casey Kasem lost his mind over?
No, that was season 3.
Was that season 3 with Carbon?
Yeah.
Oh. Can never remember which episode that's in. So the storyboards have got plenty of deleted scenes covering skydive and slingshots, journey across the desert, early Combaticon designs, and some plain made-up designs. Not planes as in, flying planes, but just plain made-up. And then some more gorgeous Keith Tucker art. Anyway, head on over to the Sunbow Marvel Archive website to take a look and see what we're looking at. And obviously, if you're watching the video, then you can see it as well. All right, and lastly, Jeremy just threw this in here, so we're going to talk about it anyway because it's topical. Screen Rant has posted an article talking about a Twitter user who's had enough. This Twitter user uploaded the entirety of Transformers: Dark of the Moon to Twitter just to spite Elon Musk after recent Twitter.
This Twitter user right there.
Was it you, Jeremy?
No.
Yeah.
You couldn't get me to pay for the Twitter Blue stuff.
Yes. So you had to have Twitter Blue to be able to do this. Anyway, Jeremy, why don't you go into detail as to how this fucked over Elon Musk and why they did this?
Well, bandwidth isn't free, server hosting isn't free, and serving up a long movie, people probably would find it and watch it. It costs, and with the trouble that Twitter has imposed on themselves recently, it's just, I feel like this was a very nice FU to Elon, and all of their troubles are self-imposed, and this is great. So, I mean, we've seen like companies like Apple legitimately put up a full episode of a new show just as a promotional vehicle, but since they're like all of their copyright bots and stuff aren't working well because they don't want to pay their Google hosting bills, and why not do stuff like this and screw them over?
It's amazing.
Stay tuned for Jeremy's next book, If I Did It.
I mean, for whatever reason, Twitter is lasting, and it's been on its last leg for a lot longer than I expected it to. I expected it to be dead like 6 months ago, but for whatever reason, it's still kicking. As we alluded to in the opening, there's competition out there for a new social media platform to take the spot of Twitter. We thought it would be Mastodon. Mastodon is not taking off the way we thought it was going to do. Is it Hive? Is that the other one? That seems off either. Hive seems to be dead. There's one called Threads that apparently is supposed to be happening.
I just got a Blue Sky invite, which I think is iOS only right now.
Well, that's stupid. So we can't have that. You can't limit the majority of people with phones out there by only having a social media. So what's everyone using out there? What's next? What if you're not on Twitter? And Instagram. No, don't say Facebook. Don't say Facebook because that's garbage and for your grandma. So don't say Facebook. Charles is on Facebook and he loves it. That's why.
Are you calling Charles a grandma?
Apparently.
Instagram is really popular, even though it's owned by Facebook.
Yeah. So, but it's not the same type of. Yeah. No, it's too different.
I think I think whatever will replace Twitter, or I mean, I think either something will emerge to replace Twitter, or Twitter will crash to the point where Elon will have to sell it and someone else will take it over who will reinstate some sane management policies and try to rebuild Twitter to what I think the problem is. You have that momentum inertia effect that it's you can't you can't get away from Twitter because Twitter's where all the people are. So until like there's a mass migration to something else that moves the center of gravity, Twitter's gonna hang around. I mean, I think the issue is, I mean, if Twitter can't actually pay its like hosting and database and all the actual fees, eventually some of the creditors are going to shut the lights off on Twitter. And when that happens, and if Twitter gets to the point where it declares bankruptcy, and then you've got a fire sale where someone can swoop in and basically buy the whole thing for pennies on the dollar, then we'll have some movement. I think there's still a little ways to go before we get there. I guess there is a scenario where Twitter turns itself around and recovers all the ad revenue and somehow becomes profitable. I don't have a lot of confidence that's going to happen, but I mean, that's still a possibility at some point. But
I'm having the most fun with Mastodon right now still. I mean, in terms of not seeing a lot of crap I don't want to see. The people I've added on Mastodon are posting things that I like to see, like the Transformer stuff, the comic stuff, retro computing stuff. I'm just that when I want to check, like I'll check Twitter maybe once a day. I'll check Mastodon multiple times.
Well, you have the benefit if you don't check Twitter as often, then you won't get rate limited. So
yeah.
I mean, I find that kind of absurd that that Twitter is actually throttling its users, but yeah, I guess if your providers are throttling your data rates because you're not paying your bills, I guess that's the only thing you can do.
Yeah, I mean, like I just opened TweetDeck and most of my things aren't coming up.
Yeah,
because it's ridiculous.
All right. Well, apologies to everyone who didn't want to hear about the trials of Twitter. So we promise to limit discussion of that in the future.
We could talk about how Reddit shut down the API stuff this week.
Yeah, that's also bad.
How about we talk about how people can join us in our Discord?
Yeah.
transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Lots of good talk in there.
Until Discord decides to start charging for all the servers that people run. And make Nitro mandatory. Don't do that, Discord. All right. Well, I think that's all the media news. And that's everything we got for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks again, everyone, for watching and listening. And thank you to our Masterpiece Donatrons, who we give a shout out in every episode. We really appreciate your contribution. These are the folks who continue to support us at the highest level on Patreon, and we really appreciate that. So that's why we give you a shout out in every episode. So thank you once again to John Forex Levingood and Demon Tech 82. You guys are awesome. And thanks to everyone watching and listening. You guys are awesome too. We really appreciate it. And we will see everyone at TFCon Toronto next week. And we will probably do some kind of recordings there, because if we got to have a show out the next week, we won't have time to do a regular recording. So come see us at the podcast panel. Just come hang out, for the whole weekend and say hi. So
we can't request the B team to do something while we're away.
Well, Dr. Pants is going to be there with us, so it'll only be Apollo and Mike.
Yeah,
Apollo, Mike.
We'll figure out something.
All right, everyone. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.